Hello, everybody. It's us two again. God, get a room, you two. Can't keep us apart this week, can you? Anyway, what we're discussing today, bit of Jarrod Bowen, who has been selected for Player of the Year, the senior one, not the little boys one. But we do have a player who's been selected for the little boys one. That's Declan Rice. We're going to be discussing whether, but maybe he should have been in there ahead of Bowen or whatever. We're going to discuss all of that. And David Moyes has not been selected for Premier League Manager of the Year award, but that's not the LMA. That's not the same thing. So that won't take into account the semi-final that was that we just tragically had to endure. Now, before we go any further, we've reached a quite a symbolic milestone at Hammers Chat. We don't normally bang on about each level of subscribers we get, but I did feel that it was worth mentioning, and we've got to thank all of you lot, because without all you lot, we'd have no views. And on the main channel, we've just crossed the threshold of 10 million views. Woo! How about that, Gio?
Bad, is it? I like to think of it as if 10 people watched 1 million of our videos. So you think of it like that. It's a lot, isn't it? Or even 1 million people watched 10 of our videos. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, 10 million just watched one thing. Just one. And that would be bad, because it means 10 million have watched one video. I thought, I'm not watching any of that crap again.
Yeah, there's been a few thousands when you watch one of them, one video, and that's it.
I'm sure they have. We're really chuffed, and we're really grateful. And it's come a good. Well, I think it's a really good week for Hammers Chat, and we've got some. We've had a really good week on the Patreon. Some people have been, really, really kind on there as well. And also, I didn't go unnoticed on yesterday's video. Harley's message just was a very, very nice message about Hammers Chat, and lots of people interacted with that message, and it didn't go unnoticed. So thank you very, very much. Okay, Gio, you were the one that messaged me earlier on, and you said, "Oi, Bowen's been selected for Player of the Year. No Declan Rice."
No, a surprising one, actually, to be honest with you. I mean, it's difficult. This is going to feel very like backhand complimentary towards Jarrod Bowen now, but I'm surprised at the exclusion of Declan Rice in a weird way. I suppose it depends on who you vote for Ham of the Year. If you vote for Jarrod Bowen for Ham of the Year, I think you're thinking, well, this is the right way round. But if you vote for Declan Rice for Ham of the Year, which the majority of us did as he won the award, then you're thinking, well, how's that worked out, kind of thing. So I'm in a weird way, I'm pleasantly surprised Jarrod Bowen's been nominated, and it's sort of hard to suggest that he should be nominated as well. 10 goals and 10 assists. Mo Salah's only other attacker to have done that in Premier League. So statistically, you can understand why. But then for Declan Rice not to be included, a bit of a head scratch. And I'm aware he's nominated for Young Player of the Season, but it's not quite as prestigious, is it? If I was Declan Rice today, actually, I'd be sitting there thinking, I've been mugged off a little bit here.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you is Phil Foden? Sorry, my phone beeped then, very unprofessional. Phil Foden's up for Young Player of the Year as well, right?
Yeah.
So he's likely to get it, really, isn't he?
It'll be him or Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Of course, yeah.
I personally feel it's got to be Trent Alexander-Arnold, because he's nominated for the Player of the Season, right? So if he doesn't win that award, then surely he's the young player, because he was the only one out of the young player of the year. Oh no, Saka, sorry. Saka was also in the main one as well as young one. So surely then it's got to be one of those two. But it doesn't quite work like that. I am aware, but it just feels like that's the way it's got to work. But yeah, I'd be surprised if Declan wins a young player with Trent Alexander-Arnold in there, and Foden in there as well. Bowen's not going to win it. We know that. No. It's between Salah and De Bruyne. We know that. But to see him get the recognition is good. And what it does do, in a weird way, it probably applies a bit of pressure to Gareth Southgate for naming his next England squad. Because how do you leave out somebody who's just been nominated for Player of the Season? You can't. You can't leave them out now.
No. And what you can't do is with that against the backdrop, and then sort of include Rashford and Sancho, to name a couple who are, clearly they've been involved in numerous England squads and just nowhere near this season the player that Jarrod Bowen is. I think it's a massive celebration, actually, of what West Ham have done, how far we come, that we've actually got players in both categories. I don't know. I can't remember a time. Maybe someone in the comments have a little look when that might have been. But to have a senior player and a junior player shows how far we have come on that. I think in particular, Gio, with Jarrod Bowen, just shows the success of that particular transfer, that he was somebody who was ripping it up in the Championship. Not just that, he'd scored a hatful of goals in the Championship, and then for him to come up and not just be somebody where you look at it and you think, can he cut it in the Premier League, take that step up, but actually thrive. Actually, not only that, and I think it's fair to say it now, we've said it as West Ham fans, but this is basically validated that our thought that not only has he made the step up, he's one of the best attackers in the Premier League. Sorry to interrupt your video. Well, sorry to interrupt Gio. Sorry to interrupt myself in many respects, but I've got to tell you now that this video is sponsored by the One Football app, which you can download by clicking the link. But it's in the text underneath this screen. Literally just down there. The One Football app, well, I'll tell you now, it's going to be telling you lots of stuff about Jarrod Bowen. It's going to be telling you lots of stuff about the player of the year, the team of the year, the young player of the year. It's probably going to be linking Jarrod Bowen with all sorts of transfers away and linking West Ham with lots of people to sign as his replacement. There's probably going to be stuff all about his contract as well. In fact, he'll cover all the news, whether he's staying, going, or just having second thoughts about it. The One Football app puts all the West Ham news into one place for you, be it results, fixtures, injury news, transfer gossip, everything you need to know. Your one-stop shop for all your West Ham news. Download it in the link below. Best of all, it's free. And I tell you what, mate, there's been lots of talk about Declan Rice's contract. I feel this is almost as important. This also has to be a priority. We cannot allow this to fester and get into a situation where he's running his contract down. I think he needs to be given big money now. And I know the other day you mentioned that I think the speculation surrounding Declan Rice's contract may well mean that other people that are looking to join the club might say, "Oh, I want some of that." I think we've got to pitch this really right with Jarrod Bowen. We can't go in and try and do the Jarrod Bowen on the cheap for all the reasons that you said in terms of his performance this season.
Yeah, I agree with that. You can't insult him, can you? We've seen it in the past where you almost turn over an offer which is miles away from what the player and agent's expecting. But it certainly puts, if we do go to the negotiating table with Jarrod Bowen as expected, Jarrod Bowen's in a very strong position at the minute to almost command what he wants. But I'll be honest, I'm very relaxed about Bowen being at West Ham next season. I was a little bit worried earlier in the season. I was a little bit concerned that, to be honest with you, Newcastle, I was a little bit concerned that Jarrod Bowen is exactly what Newcastle need. And you know something? I still think that. I still think someone like Jarrod Bowen is what Newcastle need to go build almost like a Premier League super team, if you like, of the best players in the positions from outside the European clubs or whatever. But I just don't think they'll get him, to be honest with you. I think Bowen would rather stay put. He's also got a happy life off the pitch as well, which you have to take that into consideration.
Yeah.
But at West Ham, he's the main man, he's the main boy. He's going to be well looked after financially. The fans love him. I think he loves the fans. Yeah, I don't see... I'm very relaxed about Jarrod Bowen's future at West Ham, but this is just a really good personal thing for him. You know, he won the Players' Player of the Year award as well for the award ceremony at West Ham, which was interesting a little bit. I'll be honest, I'm always a bit suspicious about these awards, when they come out as to whether he was actually the winner. It's like when you used to play football, you'd have the player's player and then you'd have the manager's player. It was never the same person. The manager would wait for the players to pick and then he would pick the runner-up almost. Well, he can win that award kind of thing. So yeah, it's good season for Jarrod Bowen on and off the pitch, actually. And this is probably a massive highlight to him. You could see and hear how much it meant to him to play in the Europa League semi-final. He kept referring back to when I was at Hereford. I never thought I'd come to this, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'll tell you what, he's probably sitting there thinking, when I was at Hereford, I never thought I'd be in the top 6 Premier League players come the end of the season, because at the end of the day, that's what this award is, isn't it? It's picking out the 6 best players of the season and saying, like, which one's the winner. You know, he, like I said, he won't win it. But even if he came bottom in the poll, which is between him and Ward-Prowse and Saka, let's be honest, but even if he comes bottoming in the polling, it's, in a weird way, the 6th best player of the season, which is tremendous and an unbelievable achievement.
And look at the competition he's up against. I remember you saying something. Now, for context, it was a long time ago. It was a couple of years ago. And I think what you suggested was that I think you said you probably would get into the England squad at some point, but you said you were quite comfortable and confident in keeping him because he was at the right level at West Ham. And to paraphrase you badly, he wouldn't be of interest to Liverpool and Man City and Chelsea and people like that. Do you still think that's the case?
Yeah, because I think he's too good. It sounds a bit mental, but if Liverpool come after him, it's almost to play second fiddle to Mo Salah. He's too good to do that now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think he can only really go to one of these clubs if he's going to start. Would he start at Man City or Liverpool? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The best comparison in recent times I can probably put along with is probably Zaha at Crystal Palace in his first tenure there, which is he's one of the best players outside this Super League 6. But if he goes there, would it work out? I'm not 100% sure it would. I think West Ham's the right fit for him. I think he's the right fit for West Ham, just like Zaha and Crystal Palace were and have been and currently are as well. Actually, I do hope he stays for us for a long, long time, and I think he will go on to have a good career. I mean, he's having one at the minute, but a better one, and we'll benefit from that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, and I think he's probably falling between the margins. You made a great point about Newcastle, and I would throw Aston Villa in there because they are a club with ambition. They can't get him. Newcastle can't get him because actually there is a value in playing first team football and playing it all the time. But there's lots of clubs in the Premier League who play first team football for all the time. That's absolutely, he could do that at Southampton. He'd be their first choice. But can you do it and also be in Europe? And this is where Europe becomes key for him, really. And I don't doubt, because I think there's such a disparity and a gap between Chelsea and then the top two, and then back again. I know there was a funny result funny result. Tottenham probably don't think it was a funny result, but it was an interesting game, wasn't it, last night in the North London derby, certainly. But there's Chelsea on their own, then sort of the rest, and I think if you look at the players at Chelsea, they chop and change so much. I don't know. I would imagine, let's say, if they just picked one player to play right wing, let's say Pulisic played all season right wing, then he would probably get 10 goals and 10 assists. He'd probably match that as well. So I don't think it's totally reflective, but it also does go to show the value of playing each week and actually being part of it. And it does come down to it. So I think, for instance, when you sign a player, so we want to attract players to the club in the summer, I think we've got to do two things. We've got to convince them that West Ham's the right club for them, and then show them the money. Basically, I think in terms of Jarrod Bowen, we don't have to do the first thing. He's already happy where he is. We don't have to sell the concept of you'll play every week. You know what I mean? It'll probably be, hopefully be in Europe and so on and so forth. All those things. I think he'll get that. So it's only for us to muck up, really. It's only for us to muck up and offer him a derisory fee. Unfortunately, when you get a player in that's going to be ranked as one of the top 6 in the Premier League, there's a great kudos to that. But you are going to have to play him accordingly. And you know what? I think it's good news. Do you think Declan Rice will be? Do you think he'd be disappointed that he didn't make it into the top one? Really?
Yeah, he should be. I'm disappointed for him. I thought he'd be 100% in there. A part of me thinks the only reason he's not in there because they don't have 2 West Ham players in there. But I love James Ward-Prowse. You know I do. Yeah. There's no way you're telling me Ward-Prowse had a better season than Declan Rice. Leave it out. So he's the one player. If you were to look at the 6 that's nominated, De Bruyne, Cancelo, Trent, Alexander-Arnold, Salah, you can't argue with them 4. That's fine. They're untouchable. I get that. But it's the other ones. You've then got Bowen, Saka, and Ward-Prowse. And I think when you're looking at that, it would be Saka or Ward-Prowse that would drop out for Declan to go in. I don't think they can, in a weird way. I'm not saying it's a big conspiracy of that, but what I will say is I don't think they could have 2 West Ham players in there. Almost doesn't reflect very good on the Premier League. I think that you've got a Southampton player and two West Ham players in the top 7 of the Premier League for the season. It's what's going on there? So I think Declan will be disappointed, and I'm disappointed for him. He deserves to be in that elite group, if you like.
Well, I'm sure he'll cope. I was surprised at the the composition of it, when you look at it, when you think that Saka and Trent Alexander-Arnold have both made it into both, then it's sort of like saying, well, you're boys and men. And Declan, well, you're no, not yet. You wait until next year, maybe. But certainly his performances really do warrant it. David Moyes, he is going to have to wait, I'm afraid, because Premier League, let's be fair, nobody is going to, well, David Moyes isn't going to get anywhere close. This is where I think the voting goes early on this. LMA, we need to see what happens, really, because he's had a fantastic season and he'll be in contention for the LMA, by the way, and we'll discuss that as and when it happens. But what was the stat you said to me the other day, Gio? Liverpool have played every game that they possibly could of this season. Is that right?
It is, yeah. Because obviously Carabao, FA Cup, Champions League finals, and then the 38 in the league. So every single game Liverpool could play, they have or will play.
I mean, it's phenomenal. Every round of every competition. Let's be fair. If Klopp wins either the Premier League or the Champions League, let's I think the 4 is going to be hard, but there's not really going to be anybody else that can really win it. So he might have to wait another season for the LMA. Anyway, myself and Gio will be back tomorrow. Probably separate videos. You have to prize us apart tomorrow. And Gio, you're going to the game. You're going to Mark Noble's final game, my friend.
I am. Yeah, game. I'm looking forward. Looking forward to a lot actually. As pressure's off us. Big occasion, big day for Mark Noble, for West Ham fans, and also for West Ham. We still want 6th place, and I think this sort of uncertainty over the Man City centre-backs has given us all a little bit of a glimmer of hope. I think we're all trying to dismiss it and say, no, hope, get away from me. We don't want that. That leads to disappointment. Leave me alone. Let me assume Man City are going to win 3-0, so I can't get upset on Sunday. But then the voice keeps coming back going, but they don't have Diaz and they probably won't have Laporte. You've got a chance. That little voice is up there, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, listen, have a nice day there. I won't see Gio until then, shall we say. Gio has got a video up where he has interviewed Trevor Sinclair. If you haven't checked it out, if you haven't seen it, why not? There's no excuse. And let's be fair, we're trying to rack up our next 10 million views. So get over there and watch it.